UCLA begins to crawl out of the rubble left behind by Hurricane Chip. It's not even 24 hours after the NBA trade deadline, and the scribes are still hyping bogus Laker trade rumors. The Dodgers open camp with a set roster, but what about the minor leagues? Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos Morning Report. And it is February 10th, 2024. I am back in St. Loser misery. Miserable for every moment out here. But you got to make money in today's society. We all know that. So let's start off the day right, at least, by talking LA sports. And if you like being in the know about LA, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It lets you know we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. By all means, comment. I try to get back to each and every one of you. Now, before we go through the news and notes, a look at the scoreboard. D'Angelo Russell scored 30 points. All 5 Lakers starters scored at least 20, and the Lakers wound up beating down New Orleans 139 to 122. Meanwhile, today, it's a pretty decent schedule. Detroit is at the Clippers. That's going to be at 12:30. Edmonton is going to be at Crypto.com Arena later to play the Kings at 7. It's Jim Hiller's debut as interim coach. Meanwhile, UCLA is at Cal. That game is at 2:30. And USC is at Stanford. That game is at 7 o'clock. But let's get to the news. Now, yesterday I posted a breaking news clip about Chip Kelly and about how he's going to be heading over to Ohio State. To be clear, it wasn't official yesterday. It was more or less a fait accompli. It just wasn't official. Now Ohio State is going to pony up the buyout money to UCLA. It's official. He's gonzo. But none of this adds up. It just doesn't. I mean, Friday afternoon, news breaks, Chip Kelly, he's going to take a demotion. Really. Not many people give up power and consider it a positive move, right? That explains a lot of our political lives, for Pete's sakes. Nobody wants to give up power. But Chip Kelly left UCLA as a head coach to become the offensive coordinator at Ohio State. And once that happened, the rumors just started coming fast and furious, right? This is what happens when you have a split that is poorly timed. And it doesn't get much more poorly timed than this. Spring practice is what? Less than a month away? I mean, for example, Chip Kelly hired 3 assistant coaches, what, last weekend? I mean, seriously, should these 3 bastards cancel the U-Haul or what? Or do they go in the opposite direction, update their resume, and ask Martin Jarmon for an interview for the head gig? Talk about leading people on by it's craziness. And like I said, I posted a clip yesterday with the initial news and the impact, and we'll go a little deeper on that in a moment. But what really strikes me about this by Kelly is so many of us, we love to talk about players being selfish. Oh, that free agent signed this contract for hundreds of millions. He's selfish. That college athlete over there, he's going NIL. He's selfish. Oh, the transfer portal. Selfish. But what about the selfishness of Chip Kelly? Now look, we haven't heard from Kelly yet, and he has to be able to give his own side of things. I definitely acknowledge that. But judging what we know now, it's abundantly clear to me that he was playing UCLA this entire offseason. Maybe not as assistant coaches. Keep in mind, 8 assistant coaches left the program after they won a bowl game. So maybe he was whispering in their ear on the down low that he wanted to leave. But did he tell the players? I don't think so. It doesn't seem like it to me. He definitely didn't tell UCLA administrators, because otherwise they might have tried to keep him or fire him. Either way. That way there's some sort of clarity with what's going on. Now, by the way, before I continue, a side note about this whole Chip Kelly UCLA thing. We admit when we're wrong here at Faithful Angelenos. I mean, the scribes were out there saying Kelly was eyeing a job. They just said it was an NFL job. And not only were they saying it was an NFL job, they were wrong about the locale. Oh, he wants to go to Vegas. He wants to go to Philly. He wants to go to Seattle. They were just throwing cities up. They were just throwing darts on a map to sit there and tell you where Chip Kelly was going. I thought that the reason these stories were wrong was because I thought Chip Kelly was blowing smoke, trying to basically threaten UCLA, saying, hey, Childy's fired Chip Kelly rumors are all split. After all, who quits in February? Who quits in February for a demotion? It doesn't add up. So on that, I have to pause and let you guys know I made a mistake. I thought Kelly was staying. But why would Kelly do that? Why? It's either for one of two reasons off the top of my head. Either A, Kelly thought he really was on the edge of getting fired, or the second reason, he just didn't give a damn. He put himself over the team. That's the opposite of what coaches preach. He put his own pleasure over the team. And it's pretty much how he ran UCLA football for the last few years anyway. He didn't bother to recruit. He didn't care to court boosters or, shake hands with the fans or something like that. UCLA attendance dropped to what you would see at a high school football game in Texas. All this guy wanted to do was X and O and play golf. And by the way, also to pay his friends handsomely. But he did not give a damn. Otherwise, he would have let people know. And that's selfish. Now, athletic director Martin Jean-Mon said a coaching search had begun, and he talked to players. He was basically saying, look, it's not going to be weeks, it's going to be days. You're going to see progress. And I want to swat down a few of the rumors that have been circulating on social media, and also ones that viewers have suggested. Wide receiver coach Jerry Neuheisel, former UCLA defensive coordinator DeAnton Lynn. They're simply not ready. They are not ready. They are too young to take on the responsibility of a big Power 5 major conference football program. Lynn, for example, has been a defensive coordinator for 1 year. Now you want him to come back? To recruit? To build the entire program? To build an NIL program? No, I don't see that happening for either Lynn or Neuheisel. Look, think of USC hiring a very young Lane Kiffin. Kiffin needed to fail before he could figure out how to build a program, which he's done over at Ole Miss. Hell, the Trojans went at it again, tried to hire young. They hired Steve Sarkisian. That job was filled up with so much pressure, the dude had to go to rehab. So UCLA is not an entry-level gig. You need a legit coach to come in. And yes, I do realize that Ken Norton Jr. is a UCLA hero, but he failed as a defensive coordinator in the NFL twice. He didn't even get a sniff at the defensive coordinator job when DeAnton Lynn left to go to USC. So the idea that he could actually run the entire show, color me skeptical. I don't see it. Now, if you want some ideas that have been bandied around, go check out the breaking news clip that I posted yesterday. So, before I boarded the plane for this town, this sphincter of the Midwest, I wiped away all the trade rumors on that whiteboard that I have at my house regarding the Lakers. And I felt accomplished because I thought my point had been made. You simply can't trust today's sports writers. Boy, am I wrong. Oh no, I'm not saying you can trust these sports writers. You totally can't. But my point clearly wasn't made because Laker trade rumors are everlasting. They can't stop. The scribes can't stop gossiping about Laker trades. Seriously, after we go to war with either Russia or Iran and mushroom clouds are just popping up all over the surface of the earth, let this be known that the 2 surviving cockroaches are going to crawl out of the rubble, and one cockroach will say to the other cockroach, "Did you hear that the Lakers want to trade for Trae Young?" That's how crazy Laker trade rumors get. Jovan Buha of The Athletic says that the Lakers will target Young, Donovan Mitchell, and Kyrie Irving again. Do we have to hear the name Kyrie Irving all over again? We heard rumors about that guy for 2 years. And now Jovan Buha is pitching this whole third superstar thing again. Crazy. They just won't quit. Meanwhile, The Athletic started to come back to reality. A different reporter suggested that the Lakers will target Spencer Dinwiddie as a backup point guard when, not if, he gets waived by the Toronto Raptors and gets put on the buyout market. That might be a possibility. Maybe. And I will tell you this, I'm not saying he's going to make him a championship level team, but Dinwiddie would be an instant and legitimate rotation player for the Lakers if that happens. No predictions. Remember, the Scribes were 0 for 19 on their trade predictions this year. Meanwhile, The Athletic ranked farm systems across the major leagues and determined that while the Dodgers don't have many elite prospects as they used to, they still churn out enough interesting prospects to label them the 3rd best farm system in the baseball. Diego Cartaya's faceplant last year over in Tulsa isn't considered a catastrophe. The writer simply believes that the Dodgers have so many decent prospects that other teams would gladly take them in trade. So in other words, the Dodgers farm system right now do not have the prospects to say, take over for a Mookie Betts, to take over for a Freddie Freeman. What they do have are the prospects that will be serviceable major leaguers and make good trade bait. By the way, the Dodgers opened camp yesterday. They get to open early because they open the regular season early. They'll be having a series in March over in South Korea. As for this whole the Dodgers open camp thing, I didn't even bother to read any of the stories. They're all filled with that romantic optimism of spring fluff. I mentioned how we wiped away all the Laker trade rumors. We can wipe another name off of the Idiot Scribe rumor board. Starting pitcher Corey Kluber. One time a very big name. He was a 2-time Cy Young Award winner. Despite the Scribe's predictions, he is not coming to Los Angeles. He retired instead. We have talked about how the Trojans basketball team, the USC basketball team, how they face planted and how that could damage the draft status of Isaiah Collier, of Bronny James. But what about Boogie Ellis? He's helped USC get to the NCAA tournament multiple times. Big time scoring guard. But if you remember, the Scribes were hyping Collier as a potential number 1, James as a potential lottery pick, and just by association with those two guys, Boogie Ellis maybe late first round, early second. But USC basketball stinks this year. So now, if you look at a mock draft, maybe Collier is at number 8. Maybe he's not even a lottery pick at all. I don't even see Bronny James mentioned in any mock drafts, let alone Boogie Ellis. Did Boogie Ellis make a mistake by coming back to USC for his senior year? My birthday happened a few weeks ago. I turned 56. And I'm at that age where I really don't have feelings anymore. Not emotional feelings. You could hit me in the foot with a hammer. I wouldn't even notice it. Real life has kicked my ass too much for me to have feelings. But I have to tell you, every so often I take a moment and pause about life and about the world. A Miami Heat fan is on a clip, and on this clip, he allegedly yelled at the Clippers' Russell Westbrook, "I paid for these seats, boy," unquote. I remain a Russell Westbrook fan, but even if I weren't, I thought we were past that. I'm not going to go into some long-ass rant about how racism is bad, right? How insightful would that be? Ooh, thanks for letting me know racism is bad, James. What are you doing out there in Miami? Anyway, you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Tell me what you think about Chip Kelly and if he is actually the selfish one for what he did with UCLA. Talk to me about if you believe the Lakers are still going to try to improve the roster despite not making a deal for the trade deadline. And if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking LA sports every single day here. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Corte El Queso production. Take care.